And the whole idea is I'm going to be sharing spiritual thoughts. And if you don't believe it, that's fine. Just take what rings true and let the rest go. So today I'm going to be talking about why is my prayer not answered? Well, often we pray, we don't think about what we're praying for, and sometimes we get things that we ask for and we don't really want them. Other times we pray for something and it's not allowed. So you have a life chart. I believe that we wrote life charts before we came into life, and you wanted to experience certain things. And if what you pray for interferes with the lessons that you've chosen that you don't remember, then your prayer doesn't come true. So the answer is no. You got your answer. The answer is not what you wanted, but it's for the greater good, which is why I suggest when you pray, you say, if it's for the greater good, and then say what you want. Another name for prayers is petitions. People often petition for things. Also, sometimes you pray to ask for help. I want help. Well, did you say what you wanted help for? Did you want help to walk around the block? Did you want help to get a new car? Did you want help to find something at the grocery store? You need to be specific about what you want. If you're not specific, sometimes you get things you totally didn't want. Okay, another thing that we don't do is we don't use time effectively. The other side is timeless. All time is now. In heaven, the source, the universe, everything's happening at once. It's all the present. It's all now. It was described as time is like a merry-go-round. You can get on and you can get off. So you missed the symphony yesterday. Well, it will come back around again. You missed the lecture. You missed the horse ride with your friend. You can go around and catch it again. I don't quite understand that, but it makes more sense than all time is right now. Also, we live in a time that's linear. On Earth, we have linear time, yesterday, today, tomorrow, and we expect those things. We don't expect to go back in time. We don't expect time to be extended. You can ask for time to be extended. You can ask to have all the time you need. And you'd be amazed what you can get done in the day if you ask for time to be extended. Sometimes you pray and it's on the way because you were not time specific. So you ask for the little red truck when you're 5 years old, and you get the little red truck when you're 75 years old. You got the little red truck. It just wasn't in the time you thought it was going to be because you weren't specific about your time. On the other side, our whole lifetime seems like a snap of the fingers. So for you to say that you want something, the other side, it seems like they just gave it to you because there is no time on the other side. So you need to be specific. They have to use an abacus or some other device to figure out time for us. You ask for something and it's not possible. So say you asked to be a professional football player and you're actually 55 years old and out of shape. You're probably never going to be a professional football player. So you can adapt that request, adapt that desire, and maybe you want to join an intramural team and play football. Maybe there's a flag football team that you can join. Maybe you just want to do it on online. They have those, you sign up, you pick your team, and You pick the players, and then you compete against other people online. So if your request is not possible, then you're not going to get it because it's not possible. It could also be against your chart. So you want to become a doctor, but you're supposed to be an accountant. You can study to be a doctor. You can go off your chart sometimes. But if you're praying for something, then it's something you desire. And if it's easy, if it's acceptable, then it's put in place. If it's not, then it bypasses you. I told you about my life of despair. No matter what I prayed for help, for relieving the despair, it didn't happen because I wrote in my chart, my life chart, that I wanted to experience despair. And the angels, my spirit guides, God, all accepted my request. And then when I get into life, I can't remember what I wrote. Often we get into life and we want things to be totally different. You want to get your advanced degree, but you're supposed to be a carpenter and you don't need your advanced degree. So maybe things keep blocking you from getting your advanced college degree because you're not following your path. So things are put in place to dissuade you from going off your path. I always describe it like a GPS. You know, the angels always get you back on your path. And that's one reason we call it spirit guide. Your spirit guide is guiding you and keeping you on your journey, the journey you chose, the journey you wrote. So sometimes we get here and we think, what in the world? Why do I have this lesson? Why am I going through this? Because you wanted to perfect. You wanted to gain more knowledge. You wanted to gain more spirituality. You wanted to share your experience with Source or God, whatever you call that universal force of creation. Okay, you request a companion in your life and you don't get it. Well, that's because you need to activate. My option line, we have major areas in our charts that we write. My option line is my personal life. And I kept asking spirit guides, okay, when is my guy going to come into my life? And they would describe a Canadian with a mustache, brown hair. Didn't happen. Another time, a few months later, I asked again, a blonde-haired guy with blue eyes, about 6 feet tall. Okay. If I never left my house, which is what happened, I would go to work, I would go home. I would go to work, I would go home. I never activated. I never allowed that person to come into my life. They aren't going to come knock on your door, most likely. And they didn't. So that was on me because I did not activate. You need to activate and do your part for getting what you want. We already talked about if it's for the greater good, the answer is no. But we can also request a miracle. So say you are supposed to be in the hospital. You decided you were going to have an experience of having a long-term rehabilitation because later you were going to be working as a healer and you wanted that experience so that you can share with other people. Well, that could be minimized. You could have a short-term experience doing physical therapy. You could have a short-term experience in the hospital. So don't think just because you have the lesson that it can't be minimized. So ask for it. Other times, our request is put into place quickly because it's allowed in our chart, but it's not what we intended. For example, I was working 7 days a week and I was assigned to do a wedding in Sacramento, which is about 2.5, 3 hours away from my house. So on a Thursday night, I went to Sacramento and we did the dress rehearsal. And then the wedding was going to be on Saturday. And on the way home, I was so tired and I just wanted to have some relief. So I said out loud, I need a break. I really need a break. Well, I did get a break because that next Monday, I was teaching a class and I was taking my kids on a field trip to a roller skating rink. Well, they had just oiled the floor in the roller skating rink. There were no sidebars. I stepped onto the rink. One of my kids called me. I turned around. I went to reach for something. There's nothing to reach for. I fell and I crushed my wrist. I didn't just break it, I crushed it. So I got my wish. I got a break. I wasn't allowed to do anything for 5 weeks. And I didn't want surgery. I didn't want a pin in my wrist. So I just had to be still. The doctor said, you can't even lift more than one piece of paper. So I was pretty much on bed rest and not doing anything for 5 weeks. Well, I got my break. A similar situation happened to a friend. A colleague had broken her knee and was out of work for a while. So my friend said, I really need a break like our colleague. Well, she did get a break like our colleague. She was walking, she slipped on something, she fell and broke her knee. She even shattered her patella. So she got a break and it was specific. It was like our colleague. And she got her request. It was not in her life chart because a spirit guide explained later that it was not in her life chart, but she asked for it and it was allowed. So be careful what you ask for because you may get it. And often, if you're a spiritual person or you're a helper or both, if you help other people, then the other side is more than willing to help you and give you perks and gifts and special things. So when you ask for a break, they may give it to you. So be specific in what you ask for. So now if I ask for a break, I say, that doesn't mean a break in my bones. So be careful what you ask for, number one. When you pray, ask if it's for the greatest good, and then do your request. If you're praying for someone else and it doesn't come true, you have to remember they have free will. You pray that someone gets better and they die. It's their soul's choice to get better or not. It's not your choice. It's something you wanted, but it's not necessarily what their soul wanted. You pray for someone to get over a disease. Maybe their life chart says that they want to experience this disease the fullest. Well, then all the prayers you give are not going to change anything for that person because their life chart trumps your prayer. If you send love to someone or you send healing to someone and they don't want it, it will go to the nearest person that does want it. So nothing is ever wasted. And even asking for something that doesn't take place, your emotion and your intent help. It creates a positivity in the universe. It creates a little trickle or a wave that goes out that's positive and does create something good within the universe. So don't think that your prayers are not helpful, because they are. Even if the intent was great for you, But what actually happens is different, and that's okay. We can't see the big picture. We can't read the person's chart or our own chart. So sometimes we get very frustrated because our prayers are not answered. But often the answer is no, this is not going to happen. This is not for the greater good. So your prayers are answered, but sometimes the answer is no. Sometimes the person you're praying for has a soul that chooses something besides what your prayer intent is, and that's okay. You might want to sit down and think of what you really want in your life, and then pray for that. And try to do long-term goals. So if you need money to pay for bills, then don't ask for money for the PG&E bill or the electric bill. Ask for money for your entire life so that you are comfortable, so that you have money to give to others, so you have money to go on vacation. Those are the things you need to ask for. So a codicil or an overview of that request would be, I want perfect wealth, which is enough to be comfortable for yourself, enough to pay for your bills, enough to give to others, enough to have some fun, go to the movies, go on vacation. You can also ask for perfect health. If something is not in your chart, then it's not going to happen. If something is in your chart, then you have that illness or you have that disease because you wrote that you wanted to experience it. But the little things can drop away. The unneeded things can drop away. So if you ask for perfect health for the rest of your life, then you can have the flus drop away, the colds drop away, which is kind of nice. So consider perfect health and consider perfect wealth and sit down and write about it. I suggest that you write always when you pray, if for the greater good. You can ask for miracles, but they are not always granted because it may go against your chart, and that's okay. We don't always see the big picture. So don't beat yourself up because a prayer wasn't answered. Don't beat yourself up because your friend's disease is still going on. Just know that you are sending out positive energy when you have a prayer for somebody else. And also pray for yourself. What would you like? What do you desire that would make your life easier or make your life more comfortable? So think of that. Well, it was nice having you around. I'm sorry I didn't see the messages again. I don't know why I can't do that. But next Wednesday, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, I'll see you again. Nice visiting. Bye.